Hello and welcome to hashtag Toe to Toe. My name is Leanne Johnson-Arnison and I am joined this week by Spencer and Eddie.
Leanne
Johnson-Arnison, double-barrelled. All the
Is
best
that a new
people
thing?
are Eddie.
It never
Eddie
used to
Hearn.
be double-barrelled before you were a presenter. Are you sure that's not your stage name?
This one's not about me, we'll move on.
Okay.
Loads of tweets came in this week when we announced that you were going to be on the show.
We
picked
can't
out the
mention
best
some of
ones.
them.
Picked out the best ones.
Yeah.
But what I would like to know first is, have you been watching I'm a Celebrity?
Do you know what? I have been watching bits and pieces, and I think Amir Khan's coming across really well, to be honest with you. People say, oh, why is he doing that? He should be fighting Campbell. But, you know, I think the thing is with Amir Khan is his PR has been terrible, right? And he said some silly things on social media, but every time I've met him, or every time other people who know him have spoke about him, they've not really said a bad word against him, against him.
Yeah.
And I found him quite a decent bloke as well. But sometimes you look at him on social media and think, like, what? Why? So on this, I think you're getting to see the side of him. And I think he's being exposed because that's what happens. And the stuff with the spiders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
It's been great.
It's hilarious. Yeah, it has been. And it's good for boxing that there's a boxer on there. Because let's get it right. It's a big show.
It's massive.
I mean, you know, and the numbers are huge. So we'll see when he comes out if he's gonna fight again. But certainly, you know, people are talking about him again, and I think you're seeing the real Amir Khan.
Do you think Kell Brook's been watching him closely on there as well?
Probably not too closely. No, I think I actually had a laugh with Kell because I was talking to him about it, saying, "Did you see Khan with the snakes?" And he said, Kell said that he's twice as bad as Amir in terms of his fear for snakes. He says, I couldn't have even put my hand in there. So it's funny you got two guys like that who want to go and you know, tear each other to shreds in the ring, but they're petrified of a couple of centipedes. So interesting. I think they should have sent Kell in. You know, like we've got a special guest coming into the camp. Like they sent those other two people in who I've never heard of. They should have sent Kell Brook in.
Would you
That'd
go
have been
in?
lively. No. I did get asked once after the Froch Groves fight.
You wouldn't go in?
No, never in a million years.
You were talking about the trials earlier. You said that you wouldn't have a problem doing them trials.
I'll give it a go, but I just think like, I think to go on that show, you got to want a few things, haven't you? Money, profile, or you're just completely bored with your life and think, do you know what? I'll try something different. So everyone that's in there is in there for one of those three reasons. Right. Give me another couple of years, I'll walk there.
Yeah, then we'll see you in there.
But at the moment, I'm all right.
Years.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get started anyway. Loads of tweets come in about the heavyweights. So we'll start off with Joel. How close is the AJ v Joseph Parker fight to completion?
We're getting there. We're not there yet. I mean, Spencer had an idea earlier about meeting in the middle, which is something we may both have to do. But I think that in terms of whenever you negotiate a big fight, you get an understanding from the conversations if the team really want to make the fight. And I really feel like they want to make the fight, and we really want to make the fight. So I've said to David Higgins, and he's talking about flying over at the weekend or early next week, to sit down in a room and basically not leave until we get a deal. So I think that's the favourite to happen next, but still a few % to go. But hopefully we can get it over the line.
Spencer, who would you like to see Anthony Joshua face next?
I would like to see the Parker fight for the simple reason of this. Parker is an unbeaten fighter. He holds the WBO title, which is, out of all the crowns, the most newest formed of them, but he holds that crown, and you know what I mean, and he's diligent. And the fact is like this: Anthony Joshua should be going out and he's trying to knock off everybody. So therefore, here's a man with a title. Here is a credible opponent whose profile isn't that big. But anybody who fights Anthony Joshua, your credibility and your name just goes through the roof because he's got that allure and that pull. So I think we spoke earlier on the podcast. I really do. I'm praying that you can make it, and like you come with a big padlock and you lock that door and you say, listen, we're not leaving it until we fresh out this deal. And I believe that you should be able to do it.
I hope so.
Right?
I hope so. And styles make fights. It's a fun fight. It's an exciting fight.
It's an exciting fight for the fact that.
What do you think happens in that fight?
Listen, it's very, very difficult to go against Anthony Joshua just because of his pedigree, and the guy has a persistence and he will find a way to win, right? But in the Takam fight, he was found wanting in that fight, and it was a little bit lackluster, but he got the win. So I would like to see that fight happen, and I think Anthony Joshua will grind him down and beat him.
Okay, Moving on, next tweet, we've got one from Dean. Are Bellew and Fury going to get it on? They both want it. Great fight for the start of 2018.
Good fight. Some talks. I mean, obviously we're scheduled to fight David Haye. I think the situation for Tony is quite difficult because he hasn't boxed for 9 months. He wants to box in sort of March, April time. You've got Tyson Fury, who has the hearing coming up with UCAD at some point, has to go before the British Boxing Board of Control, has to get in shape. And then you've got David Haye, who's injured and coming back. So, you know, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. My recommendation to Tony, and I think this is the way we'll go, is to fight David Haye, get that rescheduled, and then fight Tyson Fury. I think really that could be the way that Tony Bellew bows out from the sport of boxing, to silence the doubters on the David Haye fight, and then go in and try and cause a huge upset against Tyson Fury, a fight that he really fancies, by the way. And you know, people talk about, oh well, he didn't want to go in with other heavyweights. Going in with Tyson Fury, I'm talking from a risk element, is a lot less risky than going in with Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder. Doesn't mean that Fury can't beat those guys, but when you're a smaller man going in against a bigger opponent, Tyson Fury doesn't carry the power that Joshua and Wilder carry. So Bellew believes that he can trade with him, he can outfox him, he can do all these things, even though the weight deficit is huge. But going in with a Joshua or Wilder is a different kettle of fish for someone like Tony Bellew. But you know, these are two great characters, Tyson Fury and Tony Bellew. This would be a huge fight. But right now, it's about handling business with David Haye, get that win, and then I would love to see him go on.
So when will the David Haye fight take place?
We're looking at 2 dates, May the 5th or the end of March. Right. Probably May the 5th, because there's no point rushing Haye back from his injury. We need to make sure that fight gets over the line, and then we look at a Fury fight in second half of the year, October, November.
Right.
Christopher has tweeted in saying, it's all gone quiet with AJ v Wilder. What is the hold-up that has to happen in 2018?
It may appear to have gone quiet, but there's been plenty of conversations behind the scenes. I met with Al Heyman and Shelley Finkel. My old man was in New York. I actually sent, so every now and again I send in the cavalry. You know what I mean?
How about the big guns though?
Yeah, the old man. No, but you know, like when there's a guy like Shelley Finkel.
Yeah.
Now, I met Shelley Finkel probably when I was like, I don't know, 12. So a bit like Lou DiBella, a bit like Chris Eubank. They look at me and go, that's that kid who used to run around at the shows and annoy everyone.
I'll take some sweets.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now I'm running around at shows annoying people, but I'm not the little kid anymore.
You know,
all right, thanks, Leanne. But that was back in the day, before you had a double-barrel name. So I think that ultimately, sometimes it's good to throw my old man in. Like he knows Shelley Finkel for years and years and years, and they can sit down and have a different kind of conversation. And the conversation was, Deontay Wilder wants, I'll say it, 50-50, and we say, no way, mate. So there's not, sometimes, like I said, you get that feeling.
Why are you saying no way? Because like on the reels, the real heavyweight fight would be that fight, because I'm getting guys like in the barbershops and that talking about this fight, and some guys who don't really know boxing, they're talking up Deontay Wilder some stratospheric heights. I'm not disrespecting Deontay Wilder because I don't want him to come back and say that I'm agreeing to everything that you say. You know what I mean? It's the brothers. It's hurting my feelings.
You like to play devil's advocate,
it's hurting my
but
feelings.
I'll put it as, Spencer, having been an ex-fighter, that if Anthony Joshua is currently earning X, to go to him and say you can earn X plus a little tiny bit more to fight Deontay Wilder in the biggest fight in world boxing, that doesn't add up. If Deontay Wilder's earning $1.5 million a fight, but you can earn $10 million for this fight.
So what is it going to be to take it over the line? What's going to have to happen?
Well, we're going to have to find an agreement on the split. But in the meantime, we can't be waiting around. There is an understanding generally from both sides that this fight happens in the summer, by the way, and not next. And despite what Deontay Wilder says, and I do believe both fighters would take it next if a deal could be reached, but the general understanding from everybody is that this is a summer fight, or even potentially an early autumn fight. In America, it's not a problem either. Maybe we do 2 fights. Maybe we do a stadium fight here, then we do a Vegas fight. Anthony Joshua's ambition is to win every belt. I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
So therefore, we have to fight Deontay Wilder at this moment in time, unless he gets defeated.
What do you think would happen if Anthony Joshua was to fight Deontay Wilder?
I believe he knocks him out within 3 rounds.
Within 3 rounds?
Yeah. I think Wilder is an incredibly risky fight. I think it's one that you watch like that, and I just believe that Joshua is it's hard to say complete, because I know he's not complete, but I just think that Joshua punches in straight lines, and I just think, I feel like it will be a Charles Martin type performance rather than a sloppy performance from Joshua.
Okay.
I think it will be a well-executed performance of one guy who's going to come in wild with wild swinging shots, and the other guy's that's going to punch down the lines like he did against Charles Martin. And I believe he will knock out Deontay Wilder within 3 rounds. I do. I believe the Joseph Parker fight, what you said, I believe he has to grind him down in that fight.
He will have to grind him down.
Because I think he has a very good chin, and I think he's tough. I'm not saying Wilder's not tough, but I think it's an explosive fight where someone's getting knocked out. And I believe that in terms of pedigree, in terms of style, that the person more likely to get knocked out in that fight is Deontay Wilder.
Okay, moving on from the heavyweights, because we've got loads of tweets to get through. Leon has tweeted in, when is Luke Campbell next out, and could he face Crawler next?
Yeah, I spoke to the meeting with Anthony Crawler on Monday. That's a fight we're definitely looking at. I think both guys are in a similar kind of position. They both want to fight for the world title, but also understand that Crawler against Campbell is a big fight.
Yeah.
We also talked about Burns against Crawler rematch in Glasgow this time. Campbell. We're also talking to Golden Boy about a Linares fight in April, May, outdoors in Hull, because he's fighting now in January. So quite a few things in play, really. Fighters sometimes get to a stage in their career where, and I had this conversation with Kell Brook as well recently. What is the motivation? Is it to be in the big fights? Is it to make money? Is it to win a world title again? For those guys who are coming towards the end, it's a bit of everything, really. Do you know what I mean? Kell Brook would love to win a world title at 154 pounds. He also wants to be in the big fights. He's had a taste of it and he wants more. Crawler the same. He's fought Linares twice. He's come up short, but he's been a world champion. So what does Crawler want out of the game? Crawler loves the Manchester arenas, the big nights, the atmosphere. He loves to test himself. Every fighter's different in terms of what they want at what stage in their career. For Luke Campbell, he's the only one of those 3, and 4 if you include Ricky Burns, that hasn't won a world title. So the ultimate game, the ultimate aim for Luke Campbell is to become world champion. And I believe that he can beat Jorge Linares in Hull. Oh, I've got a bit of cramp there. Some people might think he can't beat Jorge Linares, but I really do believe...
It's your wallet weighing you down.
That is true, yeah. But the confidence that he gained in that first fight, I really believe he can beat Linares in Hull. But I have said that before.
Okay, moving on. Anthony has tweeted in, is O'Coley v Chamberlain happening in February? Now, this is one that we...
Yes, we want to know.
So.
We want to know what's going on here.
Yeah. I mean, where are we up
Brixton Hackney rivalry.
Exactly. Lawrence O'Coley has signed his contract for the fight. And we're now sitting down with Isaac and his team to see if they want to take the fight, which I presume they do.
So let's get this straight, Eddie. Lawrence O'Coley, who is deemed as the underdog for this fight, has signed his part of the agreement. Yeah. And you're waiting for Isaac. What do you mean you're waiting for Isaac Chamberlain? Isaac, you're South London. You're Brixton, brother. Don't make this Hackney boy child make you look small.
No. Again, it's not a case of we're waiting on him. We're talking to him. Make it like everything. The deal, by the way, is the same. They've both been offered the same purse, so it's not like Cody's getting more. But we've got to sit down like everything.
Is there going to be a title involved in this?
There will be. Yeah, there will be a title. It's a tough one because it's probably a fight or two too early for both of them. But sometimes the timing is just right, and there's no downside for either guy. You might be saying, yes, there is, Eddie, the unbeaten prospects, and one might lose. When you're in a size of that profile, it doesn't matter. You can come back, one win, back fighting for British titles and stuff like that. So, again, O'Coley's got the bit between his teeth. He's sort of been wound up to a stage of, this is too early, by the way. Don't forget, Chamberlain's had, I think, 3 more fights than O'Coley. He's had a 10-rounder. And he's boxed, and he's been the distance. He went the distance.
Yeah, but O'Coley's had international experience. He's been to the Olympics.
But I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's a 50-50. By the way,
you think?
I think when you look at it on paper, and particularly from O'Coley's last couple of performances, I make Chamberlain the slight favourite.
Chamberlain a slight favourite.
Slight favourite.
Okay.
You?
And I would say when it comes to someone who puts in better punch dexterity, the person that has the greater out, who's got the slight more experience when it comes to the professional game, then I would say that Chamberlain, especially, I would give him the slight edge as being favourite for the fight. But with Lawrence O'Coley, he's got a pig ignorance about him where he thinks like, look, don't worry, I'm going to catch you, I'm just going to knock you out. And I like to look
at
on the
fact. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a good thing for him. For Coley, I think that's actually a good thing for him, because if he was to go and fight, and in this fight, he's gonna be asked questions in this fight. You know, he had a lackluster performance the fight before last against a guy who was an ex-Olympian and was he Commonwealth silver medalist, the guy?
Yeah.
Right. So I got to give him props for that. But I think the major part of this fight goes down to the corners. Now we've got Ted Bammy used to be one of
Ted Bammy versus Brian.
Brian O'Shaughnessy was a superb trainer. So I think the fight's actually going to be won with the advice that's coming from the corners, and that's why I'm so interested in this fight.
I hope we get it over the line.
I do, fingers crossed, it's going to be a great fight.
Gonna have to leave it there, guys. Thanks so much for coming in. That's all for this week. Tune in next week for more #toe-to-toe or check out iTunes for the podcast.
Sky Sports. Feel it all.